Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of your morning workout talk brought to you by Literary Pharaoh. Turn this up on your dial. It's morning time. Wakey, wakey. I'm being silly, guys. I'm really not that type of a morning person. You know what? I'm naturally not a morning person, but over time, as I've gotten older, because of responsibilities and having children, the older you get, you inevitably become a morning person. You know, I guess those younger years when there was less responsibility involved in our lives, we can kind of sleep in late and, you know, do whatever the hell you wanted, wake up when you felt like it, but those days are gone. They're gone. They're gone. People who personally as a man, I'm a person of duty. I don't really. Most of the things that I do is because they have to be done. It's the right thing to do. There's hardly any emotion attached to the things that I do. Like, and I don't consider it a problem. Even in I'm talking about relationships here. Like, you know how, we're taught through the European, nonsensical, religious, dogmatic, doctrinal nonsense stuff, the thing that shapes our mind. I embrace, ever since I've moved away from that Bible stuff, I've started to more embrace the natural evolvement of the human experience. There's stages to our evolvement or evolution. When I talk about evolution, I'm talking about mindset evolution, not like physical evolution, like we're morphing into something different. I don't want to get into all that pseudoscience stuff. But what I am saying is that, like, this idea that, they say women supposed to respect men and men are supposed to love their wives or something like that. I don't know what love is, actually. I know that people say love is unconditional, but I've never, in the way I've always seen it, I've never seen love to be an emotional thing. Now, are there emotional, emissions that pour out of me when I do certain things? Of course. But I've always viewed the concept of love as a concept of duty. You see, for instance, I love my kids. I would die for my kids, right? If someone pulled out a gun and they were aiming it at my kids, I would jump in front of the bullet so I could be hit. I wouldn't be able to live life knowing that I watched my kid die or having my child die before me. That's love. Love is an act. It's not a feeling. Now, the feeling does act as a compelling force that pushes you forward to do what you need to do. But I'm not waltzing around here riddled with emotion. Oh, I love. Like, no. But the way the Western world has defined love, they've defined it in an unrhythmic way. You say, what do you mean by unrhythmic? Well, there's no rhythm to it. It's static. It's linear. It's, I see you, I develop feelings for you, and boom. No, love has to be something that's organically forged within your biochemistry from a chemical perspective. It has to be something that's wound up in you. Because I gave you the example of my children because they come from my loins, right? Me and my wife laid down, came together, created a child. And out of that union, love is birthed. The seed, the love seed, physically, figuratively speaking, metaphorically speaking, the love seed, the seed is planted. I planted the seed in my wife. That's the love seed. A child is born. Therefore, love is cultivated within that environment where that child is born. That's the way I see love. Now, in terms of loving my wife, because there are different degrees of love, it's the same thing. I love my wife more because of what she and I were both able to create. But let's say we didn't have children, it was just us. Let's say we're dating, which we did, and then, I propose, which I did, propose to her, will you marry me? And we have a wedding, great, had a wedding, did that. Went to our honeymoon, yeah, great, did that. Those things that I was doing then wasn't because of love. As a man, I have duty. Like, I want progeny, all right? I want lineage. I'm speaking from a man's perspective. If you're a woman, then I can't speak for you. I can only speak for the things that I can understand as a man, because I'm walking in my shell, in my exoskeleton. I'm a man, genetically, chemically, and anatomically. I am who I am, right? So I can only speak from that perspective. I wasn't doing it because I love. Of course, you have to say it. Do you love me? Of course I love you, baby. But it wasn't the kind of love that's defined by the world. It's a different type of love. It's a love of duty. Love is duty. Love is an act. Love is violent. Love is bloody. Love is sweat. Love is tears. Love is not the way the world is brainwashed and indoctrinated most of us to view the concept of love has diluted the potency and the profound nature of that term. And nevertheless, people throw it around haphazardly, which has caused the word love to kind of lose its essence. But I've never viewed love that way. I haven't. Now, there are times where I have needs physically. Now, when I was younger, if I wanted to have sex with a girl, it doesn't mean that I love the girl. I have a physical need. All right? Or if I'm thirsty, right, and I want water, and I go get the water, does that mean that I love water? No. It's a physical need. My body needs the water. So, physical acts of sex, the physical act in itself, depending on the mindset of the individual, doesn't necessarily define love. So I gave you two examples. I gave you an example. A man has a need. He's horny, for the lack of a better word, and he finds a girl to have sex with. Is that love? No, it's not. Most of you guys will say that's lust. Okay, let's say it's lust. A man's married. He's horny. He wants to have sex with his wife. They have sex. Is that love or is that lust? You see what I'm saying? You see what I just did there? What I just did there, only thing I changed was the dynamic of the relationship. One is a man who's single, seeking it. Another one is a man who's married, seeking it. Are you going to say that the second example is love, or are you going to say that's lust? Because it's predicated off the same premise. They're both horny. They want something. They have a need that needs to be met. That's why I don't like to define love by a physical act. The Western world, the European, the Caucasian mindset is to say, hey, let's make love. So making love means having sex. Nah, making love doesn't mean having sex. Making love, it means getting down, committing to somebody. Again, duty, making a commitment. You make love by creating a child. That's why you're making it. You're making love. Love is the child. The child is the love seed. The child is the cohesive glue to keep the relationship together. That's what love is about. Love is encapsulated in the dynamic of a relationship. Preferably a relationship that has a child that's born, because the relationship in and of itself without children becomes selfish, and you become two people that are self-seeking. And there's nothing more counterintuitive and antithetical to love than the concept of having two people that are selfishly thinking about themselves all the damn time. You see, when you have a child, it breaks that mode. You're no longer thinking about yourself. The child comes first. And then everything you do is predicated on the foundation of making sure that you create an environment for that child to flourish. An environment of nourishment. An environment of love. Unconditional love, I might say. So we have it all backwards. You know? I mean, even for you guys that believe the Bible, when it says love, when they say that, God, Jesus loved God loved the woman to the point where he gave his life for his woman, he loved the church and he gave his life for the church nonsense. even in that definition, when they talk about love in the Bible, it still has actions. It still has act of sacrifice. That's love. Love, when you decide to create a child, that's love, because not because of the feeling, because you're about to make the biggest sacrifice of your life. No longer are you number one. Someone outside of you is number one. And you get a better, greater sense of fulfillment for living for something, when living for something that's bigger than you, that's outside of you. And bigger than you, even though the child is physically smaller than you, but the idea that child's vulnerability and helplessness depends upon your upkeep and sustenance of that child makes it all the more very vital and very important. Makes it very important. So that's how I view love. It's not lovey-dovey feeling. I'm not looking for a feeling. That's why people can say, I fell in love, I fell out. How can you fall out of it? You can't fall into love. Love is something that's it's grown. It has to be built. It's built. It's built with trials and tribulations. When you go through things with somebody, you end up growing a love for that person. And that's why marriages that are strong, the couples end up loving each other more the longer they're together. No freaking feeling. That's why the divorce rate is so damn high. People are looking to sustain a certain feeling. It's so impossible to live underneath that sort of jaded paradigm that you need to sustain a feeling. It's untrue. It's fictional. But we have a lot of movies pushing that nonsense. That's why a lot of women, because women are more emotionally charged, they love those love stories like that. Oh, you meet a guy, they fell in love, da 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 da. Nah, man, it's a feeling. Men were wired, man. We are positively charged. Our energy comes out. When we get sexually aroused, our man part comes out. It protrudes. So most of the things that men do is because of a physical need. It's not an emotional need. It's a physical need. When a man has a thirst for sex, or horny, or has an urge, that has nothing to do with love. That has nothing to do with love. Love is not something that's just like a cloud that just stays over you all the time. I love my wife. No. There's certain times in a man's life where the act, remember, love is an act, it's an action, where the acts of love are taking place. And then sometimes it's pulled back. It doesn't mean that you hate the person. It's just that love is an act, it's an action. It's a verb. It's not something that's just it's raining right now. I know you guys can hear that. And again, love is an action. It's an act. It's an act. And even in times of clear frustration, even with the spouse, or even with your own kids, is because of the love that stirs the frustration. That's why I said love. The reason why I said it earlier, I know it sounded like I was being sort of poetic when I was saying that love is violent, that love is blood, sweat, tears. Y'all looked at me. I've never linked love to be like that, but it has to be, because love has to operate off of two reference, or how the pendulum swings, right? Whenever you talk about love is the overarching umbrella, and underneath the umbrella you're going to have two concepts of positive actions and negative actions that are underneath that concept of love. You say, but how can love have anything negative to it? What do you mean? We live in a dualistic world. Everything has to start from the micro, macro. We have decisions that we make. We have good, bad decisions. We have light and dark. We have wills within us. You have decisions to make. You either do this or you do that. All right? And everything comes in pairs. Even the creation of us had to come in pairs. It took our mothers and fathers to get together. It took two to create one. All right? You have to make a decision. That's what they call duel. Duel means two. A battle, a duel. Two people battling. Dualistic. All right? Living a life where things come in twos. So yeah, his love is overwhelmingly viewed, which is it's a notion, it's a misnomer. It's overly viewed as something that's positive, but it can be negative as well, because usually, because of the love you have for something, it can stir negative actions. All right? I'll give you an example. A woman finds out that her husband has been having an affair with another woman. Well, the love that the woman thought she had in that relationship will stir her to do something probably crazy. Maybe pop his tires, smash a couple of windows, break some dishes in the house, hit the husband, do some things that are really out of character, but it's not really out of character. It's in the person's character. A person's character is always shown in times of turmoil. Believe that. A person's character isn't shown when things are great. You know, the character of a child is shown when you take away their toy, when you take away the candy, when you tell that child no. Then all of a sudden, a child starts to act like a child. Children don't have the maturity to compartmentalize and say, oh, you know what, that's not good for me. Mommy and daddy knows best. Mommy said no, let me just go back to my room and sit there. It doesn't work that way. A 3-year-old doesn't think that way. They're like, no, give me what the hell I want now. That's how a child acts. Because that's the nature of a child. That's the essence of a child. A child's behavior comes out when you tell them no, you take something from them. Same thing with adults. So when that woman starts to act hateful, that's part of love. That's not her acting out of character. That's her acting out the negative charge of love. Love has its negative. Just like I love my family, right? Someone breaks into my home, I would kill the person that breaks in. I'm not a murderer. I don't go around seeking to murder people, but I'll murder someone to protect what I love. But murdering is a negative thing. You're not supposed to kill. Thou shalt not kill. I'll kill. I'll kill to protect. Yeah, I'll kill. Easily. And I wouldn't lose sleep over it. I'll cut your neck off. I'll kill you. That's what you have to do. You have to protect. So there's a negative element that comes with love. Because when you've put in the actions and the sacrifice to cultivate an environment that has that energy of love, that encapsulates it, that borders it, that surrounds it, and then something comes to actually threaten that, yeah, you're going to be very, very defensive. And you're going to get very aggressive to push out that threat, to make sure that you can keep the circle of love continuing and going. So yeah, I just want you guys to think about that. I've never viewed love that way, man. We as men, and just because you have a wife doesn't mean that you all of a sudden are blind. Meaning that, you know, when people say you only have eyes for you, yeah, I only have eyes for my wife, in the sense that I'm not seeking other women. I don't go out like, who else can I find? No, I don't do that. But if I see an attractive woman come across my way, I'll be lying to you guys to say that I don't see the attractiveness. Don't say that. Guys, don't do that. Don't act like that. Women don't respect that nonsense. They know. As a matter of fact, your woman will probably respect you more and make sure that she looks good for you, knowing that you have an eye for things that look good. Because obviously you caught your wife's eye. She was attractive to you when you found her. So all of a sudden, do you just lose the sense of detecting or identifying attractiveness because you're married? No, you don't. You have a duty to the one that you're with. That's the love. The attractive part doesn't end. Men are always going to look at attractive women. That's just the way we're wired. All right? Now, what you do with what you see is different. Like I told you, I think I gave you the example before. I may see a person that has a nice car. I say, oh, I like that car. It's a nice Range Rover. That's a nice BMW. That's a nice Benz, whatever. It's a nice car. Then you have people who look at the car and be like, man, that's a nice car. I'm going to try to track this person's actions and see how can I get in and steal that car. So there's a difference. You can admire something and keep moving. You can admire something and then start to plot on how to get it. That's when it gets, malicious. Then you start to violate the trust and all the stuff that you built to cultivate that action of love that you've had in your household. And then you wonder why things go awry, go crazy when you do that, because you have a concept of love that you're trying to build in the house, but then your actions outside the house don't mesh, don't align with the actions of love. So you never really truly get to embrace the full nature of love in your household when you're outside doing things that you're not supposed to do. When a man is out there sleeping with random women, and even though the wife may not care, remember, say the wife does not know, and the man does a great job of sneaking and doing it. Well, that's okay. You're meeting your physical needs out there, but you have a wife in the house where you can meet that. And maybe that's not enough for you. Maybe you need random women. Maybe your addiction to porn is so much that you can't see yourself being satisfied by one woman, which is actually a problem with many of our men. They get too immersed into the fictional, idea of what sex is supposed to be. Sex is supposed to be mitigated and controlled and domesticated, because sex can go wild. Nature can go wild if it's not tamed. Sex is like nature. If it's not tamed, it can be wild. It's supposed to be tamed underneath the context of marriage, because marriage pulls out of a man his natural tendencies to go out there and sleep with everything is mitigated. Hence, it's controlled, it's domesticated. Now he has to meet the woman's needs and the kids' needs. So in exerting so much energy to meet your wife's needs and your kids' needs, your home becomes your safe haven, because you have accountability and responsibilities there. You don't even have time to have sex every day like a maniac, because there's so much things going on. It's a plethora of dynamics and facets of a relationship that need to be met. Many cups need to be filled. And as you fill in those cups, the sex with your wife becomes more meaningful, because it's been done out of the act of love and sacrifice and blood and sweat and tears and all the things that you put in. But when you abandon that and you just think that sex is about sleeping with random women, well, yeah, sex is about sleeping with random women when it's not tamed. But the best type of sex is one that's cultivated underneath the context of love. That's the best kind of love. That's the best kind of love and the best kind of sex. So when you're making love to your wife, it's not only making love to produce a child, it's making love to restore, to reestablish, to reinvigorate that aura of love that you guys always have going. So it's something that's continually built. It continues to go and go and go. But when you have a man that's out there doing his thing and abandons his wife at home, there's no love there. Now you may see them getting along. Getting along doesn't mean that there's love there. That's just a partnership. It's not love. That's not love. Anyway, man, let me get off this. It's 4:52. It's raining. I gotta get. It's gonna be hard, because even though I'm parked close, I'm gonna get wet, because I'm gonna need to get my stuff out of my trunk, my little wagon and my bag and my ropes. Oh God, this is not good. Rain, please stop before I get out. All right, thank you guys for listening again, for indulging me in this morning workout talk. Take care. Have a great day. All right, bye.